What if I told you that from the moment you were born, even before your first breath, you've been in constant conversation with the universe? That every thought is a silent whisper, every emotion a signal, and every word you speak creates invisible ripples in the cosmic ocean, and the universe responds every single time, without exception. This idea might seem distant at first. Most of us have grown accustomed to experiencing life as a series of random events, chaos beyond our control, or the game of blind fate. We live trapped within the walls of our own minds, believing our thoughts are private and our emotions temporary. But here's where the real issue emerges. Most of us aren't even aware this conversation is happening. We ignore the signals. We dismiss those meaningful coincidences, those inexplicable strange moments in our lives as mere chance. Then we ask ourselves, why do we keep getting stuck in the same loops? Why do we attract similar people into our lives? Why do some of our dreams never come true? We're left with disappointment echoing in the silence of unanswered prayers. But the truth is this: nothing is random. No encounter is meaningless. No repeated pattern coincidental. The universe isn't silent. We've simply forgotten how to speak its language. The great soul healer, Carl Jung, touched upon this deep layer he called the collective unconscious. He spoke of a place where we're all connected to humanity's shared memory and wisdom, far beyond our personal history. This is where the dialogue happens, beyond words, outside the boundaries of logic. As a pure exchange of energy and intention, the universe is always listening, always responding, and always reflecting back to you the energy you emit, like a mirror. The real question isn't whether the universe pays attention. The real question is whether you're listening to it. On this journey, we'll set aside the cliches floating around, the empty well. I'll present to you 5 real, 5 practical, and 5 ancient keys to consciously communicating with the universe and truly receiving answers. First, truth. The language of vibration. That first word isn't a word as you think. It's a feeling, a frequency, a vibration. This is the first and most fundamental secret of speaking with the universe. The universe doesn't speak the languages we know. Not English, not Turkish, not any other language. The only language it understands is energy, the most fundamental language of existence. Don't think about it for a moment. The chair you're sitting on right now, the device you're holding, even the thoughts passing through your mind. Everything, at its most fundamental level, is energy vibrating at different speeds. This isn't just a philosophical concept. This isn't a wish. This is the physics of the universe. This is why patterns constantly repeat in some people's lives. The same types of relationships that end, financial bottlenecks that can never be overcome, those familiar emotional cycles that pull you in like a whirlpool. People unknowingly play the same signal, the same scratched record, over and over, and the universe continues to reflect that signal back to them with unfailing precision. If you constantly think people will disappoint you, life never tires of providing evidence to confirm this belief. If there's a constant whisper of inadequacy in the background of your mind, even your greatest achievements won't satisfy you. If you carry a fear of scarcity in your heart, even when abundance and prosperity knock on your door, you can't invite them in. The reason isn't that life is unfair. The reason is that energy doesn't lie. Whatever you focus on expands. Whatever you expect, you invite. Whatever you deeply believe, you create. But here's where most of us go wrong. People think the universe responds to words, to passing whims, or to conscious desires. But the universe doesn't understand language. It understands vibration. So the real question is this: what are you actually broadcasting? Not what you think you're broadcasting, not what you wish you were feeling. What is that essential energy vibrating at the core of your being right now? Because until you change it, nothing changes. The moment you change it, everything changes. Because as a famous saying reminds us, you don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. And the universe is listening to you in silence every moment, to hear who you are. So if we've understood this language, if we've accepted that the universe speaks in frequencies, how do we join this conversation? This is where the first 2 keys that open the doors of that ancient dialogue come into play. First key, not praying, but declaring. Most of us learned prayer as asking for things, begging, even bargaining, as if there were a power separate from us, standing somewhere far away, who would approve or reject our requests. We raise our prayers from a place of lack, a place of helplessness, and from a place where we need something external to change our lives. What we don't realize is this: with the energy of begging, you reinforce exactly your current situation. When you beg for something, you affirm the fact that you don't have it. When you ask for a way out while in desperation, you deepen the feeling of powerlessness even more. Remember, the universe hears not words but energy, and the energy you're broadcasting is the energy of lack. True prayer isn't submitting a petition, it's an alignment. It's the act of bringing yourself to the same frequency as the reality you want to create. The most powerful prayers aren't those whispered in desperation, but those declared with unwavering certainty and surrender. Not those pleading for a miracle, but those accepting that miracle as already done. This is being grateful for something you've already received, instead of wanting it. It's feeling every cell in your body working in perfect harmony, instead of begging for health. It's making your heart love itself instead of searching for love. This is the art of speaking from wholeness, not from lack. Because what you're searching for is already searching for you. All you need to do is meet it at the same frequency. Second key, not meditating, but listening. If prayer is speaking, meditation is listening. It's the other half of the conversation. The universe constantly sends messages, signs, and guidance. But most of our minds are so noisy, our lives so rushed, that we can't hear these whispers. We ask for a sign, but because of the endless anxiety monologues in our minds, we can't recognize that sign appearing right beside us. We seek clarity, but the roar of our thoughts never allows that clarity to emerge. Meditation isn't just an exercise to relax or reduce stress. As many believe, it's the act of creating space for the answers to the questions you're asking. It's turning down the static noise, the interference of daily life, and allowing the universe's fine, clear signal to reach you. When you silence that noise, when you sit calmly in that silence, when you let go of the effort to control every outcome, you give yourself permission to be guided. Answers don't come to you in words. They come as a state of knowing. They come as a lightning flash in your mind, as a shift in perspective that changes everything. They come as unexpected inspiration, a solution, that indescribable peace filling you. If you've felt your prayers went unanswered, that meditation doesn't work, that the universe has been silent toward you, the truth is actually very simple. You weren't in the conversation. You were speaking without listening, wanting without allowing, searching without being present enough to notice the answers were already there. Third key, imagination, the cinema screen of the mind. When we learn to listen and put forth our intention as a declaration, we step into one of the most creative and magical stages of our dialogue with the universe. The third key is the art of using that infinite cinema screen inside our minds. Your mind isn't just a chest storing memories or a factory producing thoughts. Your mind is a rehearsal room that previews reality. Every image you hold inside, every scene you replay over and over, every future fantasy you build, these aren't just empty fantasies. These are some of the clearest instructions you send to the universe. The universe doesn't just hear your words. It watches that film constantly playing in your mind. And whether you're aware of it or not, that film shapes the life you experience. Scene by scene. Most people don't understand the power of imagination because they see it as a passive action, a kind of daydream, fantasizing about things we hope will happen. But true imagination is an active action. It's an energetic process that reshapes reality from the inside out. When you vividly imagine, you don't just think about something, you experience it before it manifests in the physical world. And this is a truth that science has also opened the door to. Your brain doesn't know the difference between a vividly imagined experience and a real one. Countless neurological studies have shown that when you imagine something with great detail, the exact same regions of your brain light up as if you were actually performing that action. This is why elite athletes do mental rehearsals before competitions. This is why successful entrepreneurs visualize their goals in their minds as if they've already achieved them. Because when fully engaged, the mind begins to influence the body, the emotions, and ultimately external reality. But imagination isn't just about seeing. The real secret is in the emotion that accompanies that picture. The stronger the emotion, the stronger the signal you send to the universe. Imagining yourself successful isn't enough. You need to feel the excitement, the pride, and the satisfaction that success brings. Picturing love in your life isn't enough. You need to feel the warmth, the security, and the presence of that love throughout your entire being. This is where most people go wrong. They imagine what they want, but continue to carry the energy of doubt, fear, or unworthiness. They see the dream, but don't feel how that dream feels. And remember, the universe responds not to what you want, but to what you embody. If you want proof that imagination works, look at the times when you unknowingly used it in the opposite direction. Think of the moments when you replayed worst-case scenarios in your mind, imagined how everything could go wrong, and felt that fear as if it had already happened. How many of those fears you imagined somehow turned into reality? This wasn't a coincidence. This was unintentional creation. This was imagination working in reverse. You're already doing imagination every day, every moment. If you knew that every mental image is a seed planted in the fabric of reality, you'd be much more careful about what you focus on. You'd start seeing imagination not as a passive daydream, but as a direct message sent to the universe. And when you combine clarity, emotion, and repetition, you don't just imagine the future, you begin to create it. Fourth key, not affirmations, but reprogramming. After planting the seeds of a new reality in our minds and carrying its feeling in our hearts, we come to two powerful steps that will seal our dialogue with the universe and materialize it in the physical world. The fourth and fifth keys are the keys of those who choose not just to want but to become. The fourth key is using the magic of words correctly. Not affirmations, but reprogramming. Many of us have heard of affirmations. The idea of making a request to the universe by repeating positive sentences, like I am successful, I am wealthy, I am loved. But many of us have tried this and been disappointed. Why? Because words themselves aren't magical. The real power is what those words do in the deepest layers of your mind. And if you don't, change the beliefs operating in your subconscious. No matter how many words you repeat, your reality won't change. Your subconscious is your life's operating system. From the moment you were born, it's been programmed by your family, your culture, and the experiences that shaped you. It governs your thoughts, your habits, your automatic reactions, and ultimately, what you attract to yourself. If you were told as a child that money is hard to earn, that relationships are painful, or that you're not good enough, these messages didn't just stay in your mind. They became part of your identity, and when a belief is accepted by the subconscious, it influences everything, working in the background without you even being aware of it. This is why affirmations can work. They're like new code written over these old, outdated programs. They reprogram the subconscious with new instructions. But for them to work, they need to be done correctly. You can't repeat words that contradict your beliefs like a parrot. If the words you're saying conflict with your deep beliefs, your subconscious rejects them like a virus. This is why people who do affirmations without believing feel nothing changes. They're saying one thing but believing something completely different, and the subconscious always follows belief more than words. The secret to making affirmations work is emotional alignment, not just saying the words, but feeling them as truth. When you say, "I am worthy," don't just say the words. Find a moment in your life, however small, when you genuinely felt worthy. Anchor to that feeling. Let it expand within you, because the universe responds not to empty words, but to the vibration those words create within you. Fifth key, not waiting, but being. And this brings us to the most powerful, most concrete, most transformative key. The fifth key, not waiting, but being. This is the action that brings all the other keys together and gives them life. Not just wanting, imagining, or saying. It's embodying the desired reality with your being and your actions in the present moment. We can call this conscious creation. This is understanding the fact that the universe won't move until you take the first step. The universe reflects your level of certainty back to you. If you hesitate, if you doubt, if you continue questioning whether something will happen, the universe reflects this uncertainty back to you like a mirror. It doesn't punish you. It simply responds to the vibration you're emitting. Most people unknowingly sabotage their own creations. They set their intentions, visualize their dreams, say their affirmations, but then they immediately return to living with the energy of lack, disappointment, and impatience. They check for signs every day. They ask, "Where is it?" But they don't realize that the act of asking this question reinforces the belief that it's not here yet. Conscious creation is the difference between wanting and being. Instead of begging for an outcome, you begin living as if it's already happening. Instead of constantly searching for proof, you move with the confidence that it's inevitable, because the universe responds not to who you wish to be one day, but to who you are right now. This is the real transformation. This is the real key. You're no longer a victim. You're not a beggar. You're the architect of your own reality, the master of your own destiny. You're no longer just waiting. You're becoming the universe's answers. Reading synchronicity. And when you use all these keys, when you put forth your intention as a declaration, when you learn to listen in silence, when you play a new film in your mind, when you reprogram your subconscious with your words, and most importantly, when you begin to act like the person you want to be, the universe begins to speak, but its language isn't as loud and grand as you might expect. Its answers are subtle whispers woven into the fabric of life. You can call them signs, you can call them coincidences, but they're far more than just chance. They're the echoes of the energy you've sent returning to you. These echoes come in the form of like someone calling you just as you were thinking of them, like a sentence related to a problem you're trying to solve appearing from a stranger's mouth, or a book's page at a moment you least expect, like seeing the same numbers, the same symbols, repeatedly throughout the day. The great thinker Carl Jung called these moments synchronicities. He said they weren't meaningless coincidences, but rather a meaningful bridge built between our inner world and the outer world. It was a thought or emotion in our mind matching an event in the external world in a meaningful way, without causal connection. In other words, it was the universe's way of winking at you. But most people miss these winks. They try to explain them with logic. They label them as coincidence or simply ignore them. And by doing so, they sever that sacred connection between themselves and the guidance they're seeking. One of the biggest mistakes people make is expecting answers to come immediately and exactly as they imagined. But the universe doesn't operate according to human calendars. It doesn't give you what you want when you want it. It gives you what you need when you're ready for it. Sometimes the answer isn't a clear yes or no. Sometimes the answer is a delay, an event that slows you down, stops you, and forces you to reevaluate. And sometimes the absence of an immediate answer is the answer itself. Because silence doesn't mean absence. Silence is space. It's space given to you to listen more deeply, to purify your energy, and to truly align with what you want. If you really want to hear the answers, one of the most important steps is releasing the need to control. You can't demand when, where, or how the universe will answer. You can't micromanage the process or force events to conform to your timeline. True communication with the universe requires surrender. It requires trust. It requires being open enough to know that the answer will come perhaps in a way you never expected, but always in exactly the way you need. Life isn't testing you. It's answering you. When things start getting difficult after you've set an intention, this doesn't mean you're being blocked. This means the universe is showing you the old patterns and fears you still need to release because you want to expand. If at that point you can maintain your alignment a little longer, if you can stay in that frequency of knowing a little longer, transformation happens. Because at the end of the day, the universe doesn't give you what you want, it gives you what you are. And when you become someone who fully trusts, who fully surrenders, who is fully aligned with the reality they desire, the universe has no choice but to reflect this new existence back to you.